So this is the 0800 hours GMT edition of the Khoodeelaar Television Channel Part A, broadcast on the internet under the banner of BabyAngelGeronimo editions. BabyAngelGeronimo is the most consistent, transparent, reliable, fair, compassionate, conscientious, caring witness to the evilness that goes on every single day, every single minute, carried out, perpetrated by the various positions held by the personifications of evilness, such as typified by Boris Johnson and Christian evilness, middleness at the evil contraption called the DEFRA. Now, DEFRA is also very much in the news in terms of the transformation or change of the title of DEFRA to one that is supposedly for the leveling up of communities. In between the thug John Prescott forcing the Hamlets Council, which was too eager to carry out the evilness proposed by the Tony Blair of giving away literally thousands of Tower Hamlets Council owned social housing stock to the two gangs of criminals, one the Popla Harka, HARCA, and the other is the THCH, Tower Hamlets Community Housing. The issue of housing was featured in the Times, owned by Rupert Murdoch, the London Times, on Bank Holiday Monday yesterday. On the front page, there was a main item at the bottom, the Times reporting that Rishi Sunak was eyeing, that is, he was kind of going for a revised reintroduction of the robbery of council housing, social housing, that had originally been carried out by the evilness personified Margaret Hilda Roberts, starting in the 1980s. And the political murderer of the Labour Party, Keir Starmer, has been peddled by The Guardian as making the statement that he would make the number of houses to be built if he got in into 300,000 each year. and the political murderer of the Labour Party was being contrasted in relation to housing to whatever Tony Blair allegedly achieved. It is not ever an achievement to take away the social housing option available to them, which is what the liar Tony Blair did. And he operated that thuggery and robbery by the involvement of the thug, John Prescott. Today in the Times, that is the day after that particular coverage, there are two letters in the Times about housing. One is from an individual called Desai in the House of Peers. Let's see what the Desai one says. So the Desai one is the second one under the heading, the two letters under the heading housing policies. It's not the second. The first one is Desai, and the second one is from somebody called Tony Wilson. He has written, apparently from a location called Byron, the Dordogne in France. And we shall read the first one from this member of the House of Peers. They're calling Lord Desai. The Labour leader promises more house building as the panacea for the British economy. Starmer's growth plan is built on houses. Comment. May 1. This coincides with the news that the over 65s own much of the nation's wealth in the form of property, business. May 1. Home ownership is a national obsession, but a moment's reflection shows it to be a delusion. The United Kingdom is alone among European nations in over-investing in home ownership, rather than focusing on decent rental housing, especially for younger households. Favorable tax treatment of capital gains further distorts the market. Buying a house rather than renting at favors, I'll read that again. Buying a house rather than renting it favors investment in consumption over profitable production. A house is a depreciating asset, requiring repeated expenses in repair and maintenance. Houses constitute wealth only due to the scarcity of value of land. It would be better for families and the economy if people rented homes and invested the money they saved in productive enterprises by buying equity. So this is from Desai in the House of Peers. And the one from the Dordogne, Byron in Dordogne in France, signed by Tony Wilson. Whether this Tony Wilson is British or French is not clear, but let's read the bit. In informing their manifesto, The Conservatives look again to assist first time buyers. Sunak eyes more help to buy May 1, while Labour pledged to build 300,000 homes per year. The former, that is the Conservatives, short term policy interferes with market forces through government subsidy to keep the price of the housing stock artificially high. The latter allows the supply to better meet demand with the opposite effect. Successive governments, terrified of the electoral consequences of a fall in house prices, have meddled with the market, with the result we see today, a hopelessly unstable situation that maintains an illusion of wealth to a diminishing sector of society while others endure housing poverty. Now, both these letters contain one truth. The first one says delusion, and the second one says illusion. Now, this is absolutely factually true. The treatment of housing as a market commodity or marketable commodity has been in place in the UK for a very long time. And it is a suicidal policy. It's an antisocial policy. It's a stupid policy. Now, because the majority, the overwhelming majority of the political decisions, the legislative, the so called lawmaking decisions, are still exerted by a very small number in the population, while the absolute majority are left out of all say in legislation, in policy, in commentary, etc. Housing, the lack of housing, is the most persistent evidence of lack of rights, lack of humanity, lack of prosperity, personally, lack of self confidence, and lack of fairness, and lack of dignity. How is it that this is the case? How is it that the so-called mother of parliament, so-called mother of parliaments, is devoid, is bereft, is empty of intellect, basic intellect? Housing, like basic income, must be a basic right in a society. Now, if I wrote any of these for publication in the Times, I doubt they will publish it, because in the recent past I have sent 2 letters to the Times and they have not published them. And I really must state that I haven't got the time to keep writing letters that don't get published. I shall come to the Times another time, not this time, for a detailed analysis of the Times and the role of the newspapers. Going back to the role of the newspapers, today's newspapers, this is the first big platform statement, obviously coinciding with the so-called coronation, that the biographer and interviewer of King Brian, Jonathan Dimbo, is being featured in the Times today. Now, Dimbo is a completely disgusting racist criminal, because Dimbo was indulging in the season of anti-Muslim hatred that was incited and encouraged and tolerated by Tony Blair around the time of the Blair colluding with the criminal George W. Bush in the attacks on Iraq and Afghanistan. And there has been no comment about his racism, that is Jonathan Dimbo, from any quarters. Now, as I have said before, this is all in quotations. The National Union of Journalists, NUJ, had a racist creep called Team Gopshit. Team Gopshit in the 1980s was editing the NUJ's magazine, I think. And I was an active member of the Inner London Education Authority. And although I was the only one representing communities in that context, the fact that I was only one against the 60 odd other members did not alter the fact that I was the most, let's say, talked about member of the schools committee, which was the biggest schools committee in any local authority anywhere in Western Europe. Now, I don't believe that the Inner London Education Authority, which continued for 2 or 3 years beyond the abolition of the Greater London Council, I don't believe that any member on any committee of the Inner London Education Authority, including the schools committee, which is the biggest committee because of the remit, the schools, number of schools in Inner London. No member except myself addressed the actual written reports, the policies, and the realities that prevailed in the schools and what should happen in terms of bringing about necessary programs to make the schools relevant to the children, their parents, guardians, and to society as a whole. Of course, during my membership of the schools committee, the leader of the Inner London Education Authority was, of course, Francis immoral. I gave her the name Immoral. Frances Morel was hailed in the received sectors and quarters as having been a political aide to Tony Benn. Now, Tony Benn is a deeply dishonest individual who adopted the posture of being socialist, while his family business, the Benn Company, carried on doing the business as usual. And the fact that he, Tony Benn, had staged the stunt of claiming to be giving up his hereditary membership of the House of Peers, carrying the title Viscount Stansgate. This was added by his propaganda machine, the fact that he didn't say staged. They actually said that he actually genuinely didn't believe in the House of Peers, which is an absolute lie. Because his elder son, Stephen Benn, is now Viscount Stansgate in the House of Peers. And sometime between 1985 and 86, during a conversation in what used to be called Room 66, on the first floor, what they called the principal floor of the County Hall, London South East 1. Stephen Benn, he actually meant it. He said that my apparent political radicalism and criticism and rigorous demands would disappear in no time or in due course, and I'd end up being a member of the House of Peers. Now, I had no idea how he got that scenario. First of all, I've never been offered that by anyone, but were such an offer to be made, I would have to consider all the implications. In any case, that was 1985-86, which is quite a while ago. That was the time when Stephen Benn was courting this woman whom he later married, this Indian fascist, absolutely fascistic Indian woman that Stephen Benn went on to marry. This fascist of course had children, or at least one child, the daughter they had called Emily, who was then being touted to become a member of the Labour Party, candidate for House of Commons. Now, of course, Stephen Benn didn't know much about my active record before he met me. As I said, in the period up to the time that I arrived in the United Kingdom about 50 plus years ago, I had offers to join various administrations, etc., including the government of the last government of the federal government of Pakistan. One of the senior cabinet ministers approached me, and I told him to fuck off. because he approached me as based on my questioning the cabinet minister, etc., the news conference that I was attending, and he saw me. And he obviously went out of his way to praise me, etc., etc. Now, since I came to the United Kingdom, I had one meeting. Well, I had more than one meeting, but one particular meeting, relevant meeting in this context, with Ziaur Rahman. I wasn't alone. I had other people present at the meeting, held in a hotel in West London. This meeting took place not more than 18 months before Ziaur Rahman himself was murdered. So Ziaur Rahman invited me very earnestly. And the reason why he earnestly invited me to go to Bangladesh and become part of his activities, which I interpreted as being an invitation to become a member of his administration. Because I had created a short bulletin to mark his visit to the United Kingdom. And he was very impressed with the contents. I didn't praise him at all because I didn't have to praise him. I just gave him the ethical, objective advice. And his envoy, the Bangladesh High Commissioner at the time in the United Kingdom, called Minu Duha, was present at the meeting. And Ziaur Rahman was so pleased with the supplement, the souvenir, that he was carrying it around with him. I had met him for 3 days in 1977 during the Commonwealth Heads of Government conference that was held in London. But during those 3 days, I didn't have a one-to-one kind of conversation with Zia. But I did ask him, not one, not two, not three, but more than 100 questions. And the more than 100 questions that I put to Ziaur Rahman were very straight. And I have to say, for a Bangladeshi politician or an Asian politician, Ziaur Rahman could have refused to answer my question because that is exactly what they do. But he didn't refuse. He actually took on every single question that I put to him. Whether he agreed with my question or my assumptions is different matter from the actual engagement. During that same conference, not at the same venue, but at the actual India House, where the Indian High Commission is still based, in the Strand in London, the then Prime Minister of India, Morarji Desai, was having a press conference during which I asked him questions about the British state racism against members of the Commonwealth countries. And incredibly, Morarji Desai came across as a complete and absolute timid coward. I published that. I published the account of Morarji Desai and his timidity. I called it tautological diversion. And I published it in one of the outlets that Riffraff Ali, also known as Arif Ali, bribed, funded, controlled by Ken Livingstone, and through the Caribbean Times, etc. So, what I am saying about these events and publications is this, that the fact that the newspapers exist must not be treated as being the same thing as them carrying news. They're not carrying news. The British newspaper, so called, the Times, I'm looking at the Times, looking at the Sun, and underneath that, I have got this I paper. As I sit here, and they don't publish news. These are propaganda sheets and propaganda titles. And the propaganda has been going on for more than 200 years. Now, despite the fact that India is supposed to be an independent country, independent from British Empire, Pakistan is a similarly independent country, and Bangladesh, although it is represented by a political satellite of Narendra Modi called Sheikh Hasina, even Bangladesh government so-called post holders claim that it is an independent country. It is not. They name Robert Clive, of course, used to be the name that school children were told about, and there are dozens of accounts about the East India Company versus Sirajuddaulah in the 1750s. In the context of the claim by Pakistan's currently ousted Prime Minister Imran Khan that his movement Tehreek-e-Insaf is engaged in campaigning for the genuine independence for Pakistan, Hakiki Azadi movement. That is a true expression. But looking at the whole contents of Imran Khan's various proposals vis-a-vis the Sharif family, the Zardari family, etc., etc., I don't think that Imran Khan has thought seriously about this. I think he genuinely believes that Tehreek-e-Insaf should do the campaign for Hakiki Azadi because it's genuine. But that's where Imran Khan's reference to Hakiki Azadi finishes. Because Hakiki Azadi, in my view, and I'm older than Imran Khan, and I am someone who has seen more political action than Imran Khan will ever see in his whole life. Hakiki Azadi is a laughable slogan when Imran Khan refuses to recognize the crimes committed by the Pakistan military against the innocent people of East Pakistan, murdered them, massacred them, and raped the women and girls. So long as Imran Khan refuses to recognize those, and so long as he refuses to offer genuine, comprehensive regret, apology on behalf of the military that was in control and was doing the actual crimes, there is no way that Imran Khan get a convincing reception to their slogan, Hakiki Azadi. It was the people of East Pakistan that created Pakistan, not the people of West Pakistan. The people of West Pakistan followed, but even so, they did so reluctantly. Of course, people like Liaquat Ali Khan, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, his sister Fatima, and other people who did fight for Pakistan, proportionately, the majority of the people who took key actions making it possible for Pakistan to come into being were East Pakistanis. And Imran Khan has to recognize that as well. This is not a footnote point. This is not a fan point about cricket. The only thing Imran Khan has actually expressed so far convincingly is the point that he made when he visited East Pakistan in Bangladesh after 16th of December 1971. And he was surprised to find the Bangladeshi cricket fans were still supporters of Pakistan cricket team as against the Indian cricket team. It should not surprise him at all. There is a great and undeniable depth of commitment covering all aspects of the idea of Muslim society that dominates so much of Bangladesh today. And Imran Khan has not shown any awareness of that. So therefore the Hakiki Azadi laudable slogan will fragment and break into smithereens caused by the force of ignorance, force of denial, and force of a mysterious unwillingness on the part of Imran Khan to recognize the truth. Is it connected with any member of his family that was involved in the Pakistan Army's atrocities against civilian people in East Pakistan in 1971? I don't know. But it is a fact that one of his family, wider family members, either cousin or uncle, I don't know the exact relationship between him and General Niazi, Amir Abdullah Khan Niazi, who was the main commander of the military operation against the people of East Pakistan. I mean, to even say that is shocking. Imran Khan has to pay attention to my advice, which I've been giving him now on the record for several years now. And as I said at the very beginning, 3-4 years ago, when he first came into power, if he followed my advice, it would personally give him great, genuine great status as a genuine patriot, and it will give him genuine recognition as a statesperson. Why would he not follow my advice? In what way can he distinguish my advice from the advice that Muhammad Ali Jinnah gave or Muhammad Iqbal would have given? In fact, my advice are far advanced and far more comprehensive than the combined advice of Muhammad Ali Jinnah and Muhammad Iqbal, who, of course, passed away before his, within quotes, dream country came to be. Imran Khan must not make the mistaken judgment about my interrogation of Zulfikar Ali Bhutto in the 1960s. Because, like Imran Khan now, Bhutto didn't understand what I was on about. If Bhutto had the real intellectual wisdom and depth, he would have engaged with me instead of trying to defend himself against my questions. I had no preconceived, pre-planned prejudice against him. And in my communications, absolutely public, of the observations and advice to Imran Khan, likewise, I have no pre-plan or a kind of agenda other than what I am coming across with. The people of Pakistan, whatever province, whatever area of the current Pakistan, the people of Pakistan are being let down. And the people of Bangladesh are being let down. And the people in India are being let down. By which I mean that the Hakiki Azadi, in my view, would include the people of India. All aspects of the lives of the people of India. It is one thing to be able to condemn the Hindu fanatics like Narendra Modi. It's easy. It's much more difficult to create a narrative and a scenario that actually delivers a continuing, sustainable and sustained, long overdue list of goods that the people have been denied for 76 years. So we will coming to this in due course later as well, not in this edition, but later editions. And I shall be talking about the murder by fire in the Muddocks house in Shadwell in Tower Hamlets on the 5th of March. And I shall talk about the racist murder of Al-Tabali and the audacity on the part of the crooks in Tower Hamlets Council claiming that they have any concern about opposing racist murders and racist attacks, or that they have any interest in defending the community after the murders of Al-Tabali in May and of Ishaq Ali in July 1978. None of the Tower Hamlets Council councillors, none of them existed either as a councillor or as a member of the movement that I created, defending the community. And all the actions that I've been doing, defending the community against all attacks, are unique. And these are the logical, sociological, economic, racial, moral steps that should have followed the murders of Altabali and Ishakali. The criminals who are agents of Lutfur Rahman, the corrupt incumbent in the corrupt post of mayor in the name of Tower Hamlets, those criminals were absent as well. And they have no evidence, no record of speaking out against violations of the community, either by racist attacks or otherwise. So Lutfur Rahman must not, and I repeat, Lutfur Rahman must not repeat the stupid assertion that he or the corrupt council that he corruptly personifies has anything to do with representing the community or the community's needs in the context of the racists attacking Altawali or in Hackney, Ishakali. Lutherman must unreservedly apologize to me and others who are not present necessarily, who were the defenders of the community in the immediate aftermaths of the attacks on Altawali and Ishakali. Apologize for lying and appropriating the claim that he, Lutfur Rahman, and his colluders are somehow have replaced us. They have not. They can never replace us. The campaign goes on, and we shall be continuing on the lessons of the campaign against racism in the editions that follow in the next few days. We shall be broadcasting more items in due course. Just for the time being, it's 48 minutes. We shall bring an end to this edition, part A, at 08:48 hours GMT on Tuesday, the 2nd of May 2023.